Hi everyone, I wanted to take a few minutes to go over our key ideas that we've learned this week and some of the vocab words. If you have me in class, you know that I really like to review vocab a lot and even do some motions that go with it. And then of course we always draw in those word stems that you know from your ELAR classes, so let's go over some of that right now. The first thing that we've talked about this week is ecological succession, and by now you know that that's the series of events that happens in an ecosystem, typically in a new environment, a new ecosystem, or after some sort of disaster, natural disaster or man-made disaster. And after that happens, we have two different types of succession. So you know succession is an order of things. We have primary succession. So that's our first vocab word that I want to review. And I remember that because primary means first or beginning. And we hear that word sometimes when we hear about school, primary school. You have to go to primary school before you can go to secondary school. It's what happens first. In primary school, we don't know much. We don't have much basic information at all. It's just the bare bones. It's the bare rocks in our brains. So we have to have knowledge that comes in and breaks that down and starts to grow. So it's the same thing in primary succession. All you have is bare rock. So primary means one. It's the first step in ecological succession in an environment where there's just bare rock. This could be on the side of a mountain. This could be after a glacier melts to reveal the bare rock below. Volcanoes, after a volcano erupts and there's nothing but just that dark black lava flow that's cooled and hardened, that can go through ecological succession, starting with primary succession to build, to grow into really, really lush, beautiful ecosystems. Hawaii is a great example of that. Beautiful greenery in Hawaii all started from a lava flow. There was nothing but barren lava fields there before that had cooled and hardened. The second type of succession is secondary succession. And this one should be pretty easy to remember, because we know if something is second, it comes next. So in primaries, we can start with primary succession and then move to secondary succession. So after that rock gets broken down through weathering and erosion or through those pioneer species, then we move to secondary succession. So it can start here and move to secondary, or we can start with secondary. This also happens all the time. After floods, whole landscapes can be washed away to reveal nothing but bare soil. Forest fires happen all the time. Those are two examples of secondary succession where we start with secondary succession. Farming fields, that happens all the time. Where farming fields get abandoned and become overgrown. This may even happen in your own yard. If your parents do yard work, you might notice that they go and spend all day pulling weeds out of the flower bed, and within a few days, here come the weeds right back in the flower bed. I say it's because they're out to get me, but in reality, it's nature. They are just growing back where there's that bare, fertile soil that's easy for things to grow in. There's probably already seeds or roots in that soil. Makes it really easy for them to spring back up, even once we feel like we've taken it down to that secondary succession level where there's nothing but soil left. We also have pioneer species. That is another key vocab word. And pioneer species are associated with primary succession. So I remember PS and PS. Those pioneer species like to pop in there where there's primary succession and help break that rock down. You see lichens and moss used as examples a lot. You may have seen lichens or moss if you've ever gone hiking. It's that white powdery kind of flaky stuff that you see growing on rocks or on rotted wood even. And that is breaking down that rock and helping turn it into soil. Another key vocab word is climax community. And you know this word from your ELAR classes. When you hit the climax of a story, it's the highest point. It's the pinnacle of action is the climax community. And you're going to see that the same is the climax of the story. So you're going to see that same climax in nature. Well, climax community means it's the pinnacle of that ecosystem. It's at its highest rate of biodiversity. It's at its hardiest, most stable point. We know already that the higher the biodiversity, the higher the sustainability of an ecosystem. So when you have these climax communities, they're going to be very stable ecosystems. All the organisms that can live there are living there. All the diversity of life that is present that can be present is going to be present. So those climax communities are the most stable point. We know when it hits that point that it's fully recovered or it's fully developed into the ecosystem that it's going to be. So now that we've reviewed these vocab words, I have a few more questions for you to answer to review your knowledge that you've learned this week. So after you're done watching this, you're going to click to the next page and answer a few more questions, and then you are done for the week.